Hey y'all. Hello, hello. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if it's your first time here. My name is Catherine Young and I'm a creative, and I have an extraordinary guest today.
Hello, everyone. I'm Katie from Vintage and Vinyl, and I'm so thrilled Catherine asked me to do this. When she showed me a little sneak peek of what she got in this auction lot, I was like, holy cow, Catherine, you have just scored the jackpot of Coke items. And I thought this was a great idea to do a little haul together. So I'm excited for you all to see what she's bringing today because it's marvelous.
Yeah, so I'm super grateful that Katie said yes. She is one of the most busiest people on YouTube in the vintage community, as you know. But she's also has a lot of expertise on this subject. So I mean, just look behind her. Look at all those beautiful Coca-Cola trays.
I love them. They're fabulous.
Aren't those amazing? So Katie has extensive collections, extensive knowledge, things she doesn't know about, she researches. So really, I'm just going to kind of share a haul of stuff that I found, and Katie's just going to kind of add to it. But we thought before I do that, Katie's just going to share some items she brought that is Coca-Cola ephemera. So I think we're going to start off with that. And also, if y'all aren't following Katie at Vintage and Vinyl, please go do that. She has really fun content. You might catch us in each other's videos every once in a while. She has amazing sales with brooches and ephemera and all the things. So if you follow Katie, you basically will see all the things because she's very involved in the vintage community. So I saw that we have Karen here. Hello. My mom is here.
Hello, hello.
Oh my gosh. Hi. Ciao, my dear. Hello. And hi, Desert Gal Curios. And I'm going to slide Katie over into the center. Forgive my clumsiness, y'all. I'm doing this on my phone, and it's not actually the best for this. You should actually be doing it on your computer, but we work with what we got. So, hi, Gail.
Hi, welcome everyone. I'm so glad you are tuning in today. As Catherine mentioned, I do love Coca-Cola. I've started collecting Coke things when I was just a little girl. My mom would take me to it's sort of like a flea market arts festival out in Fernandina, the Fernandina Shrimp Festival. She'd have to work the festival. The station that she works for has a booth every year, and she would have to sign autographs and meet people and all that kind of thing. And while she was doing that, when I got old enough, she would send me down Antiques Alley or Antiques Row, which was literally right behind the booth. She could turn around and always see me. And she'd give me like $10 and say, go have fun. And I would start buying Coke bottles because I thought they were cool and they were in a little kid's budget, And I loved them because they came from all different cities. I thought they were fascinating. And I started meeting other dealers that dealt with Coca-Cola ephemera and all kinds of really cool pieces. And I just fell in love with it. And as I got older and got my own apartment, I just started filling it with Coke stuff. And I just think they're so cool. Really, the neat draw to this is that the graphics really do speak to you. And Coke is so universal because it's everywhere all over the world. It's just that soda that no matter where you're from, most people have heard of Coca-Cola. And I think that's really cool. So the advertisements through all the way from the 1800s through now have really lasted and stuck in people's minds because they did such a good job marketing this soda. So I've got a couple of pieces of ephemera I wanted to share with you. These are sort of the prize of my collection. I actually have two more hanging on my wall, which I'll tell about in just a moment. The first thing is I have the Pure as Sunlight Coca-Cola tablet. These were from the 1930s, I believe. They were given out to schools, and it would have come in a whole packet of stuff. I have the ruler. I don't think this is the ruler that would have come with it, but you would have gotten a ruler, the packet here. I think you got a pencil and maybe something else, and it came in a manila envelope. And I just think the graphics on this are magnificent. So it says, it had to be good to get where it is, and it's got a globe on it, which I just love. So the tablet's in perfect condition, and these were given out to schools. So I love that. That's a real treasure. I also have a bunch of these drip bottle protectors. And this one says, take a minute to refresh. I love that saying. I like to frame these. They're all over my house. And the neat thing about these is the bottle would have just slipped down inside. Imagine this were a Coke bottle, and it would keep all the condensation from getting all over your hands. And they kind of have sort of a waxy material, but they're rather thin. So I'm not quite sure how the logistics of this would have worked, because it seems like they would have just, ripped away. But it's amazing how many of these still survive after all these years. And of course, you can date these because they've got, of course, the patents on them. This one, the last patent was from 1932, but you can also date them by the slogan here, "Take a minute to refresh," which is pretty cool. I also have this. This was given away at a bottling plant, and it would have hung on a Coca-Cola carton. And it says, "Thank you for visiting us. See offer on other side." And I think at one point this probably had something on the other side that was like a coupon for Coca-Cola when you'd visit the factory. But these are kind of neat. I also have Coca-Cola checks. Now, these are amazing. They come in all different shapes, sizes, forms, different letterheads, and all kinds of things. This is from 1942, but this is an advertising check. So the individual bottling companies would have sent this out to an advertising agency to do their advertising and marketing for their area. And I believe that's what I've always been told they were. And they would have paid the advertising agency for their work. And you see a lot of these Coca-Cola checks around. I also have, this is my last piece I'll share. This is so cool. I've got the bottle version and then the crate version. And now these I think are from the 50s and 60s, although I find it interesting that these date to that, because this is a yellow crate. And most of the yellow crates are much older, like from the 30s and 40s, from my understanding. But these are so cool. So they're little booklets with starbursts on the inside. I just love it. It says, "Welcome to your Coca-Cola bottling plant." And yeah, you can definitely tell with that cup right there with the fishtail that this is definitely 60s. But it's just amazing because it shows you on one side how the Coke is actually made and bottled. So you've got like the washer, what is this, filler crowner, all these little things, the carton packager, all these fun things. And then when you flip it around, because it's double-sided, the other side has all these amazing graphics advertising Coca-Cola, like where people drink Coke. So like this one is at a basketball match. People are drinking Coke. They even have one with like a bowling alley. Here's a picnic. Aren't the graphics just fabulous on this? So I have several of these, and they are just wonderful. At a school sock hop. Just really, you'll see they rotate and they change. But I love these. They're wonderful pieces given away by the bottling plant. And then the two items that I wish I had grabbed, but I didn't. I have an original Coca-Cola cigar band. And if you know anything about kind of rare Coca-Cola items, that is a rare item. The Coca-Cola company did actually make gum and cigars. Now, there are a lot of reproductions of these things. So, of course, if you go on eBay, you're going to find reproductions like crazy. You have to really be careful on these things. But they're amazing. And I was really lucky to pick one up. Some of the Coca-Cola gum wrappers are selling for a couple $1,000s now because they're so rare. Wow. But they made gum. I want to say, I could be wrong on this date, like from the 20s. It was like a year they made the gum, because I don't think it sold very well, but they did do the gum and they did do the cigars, and that's pretty cool. So I'm lucky enough to have one of those. And then they made bottles, different shaped bottles, of course, through the whole lifetime that Coke has been made. The bottle has been constantly changing. And one of the bottles that they had was the diamond label bottle. And I'm lucky enough to have one of the authentic, unused diamond labels off of one of those old bottles. So those are kind of the treasures that I have in Coca-Cola ephemera. But Catherine has so much more for you today, and I am just beyond thrilled to be here and chat with her about those things.
So it looks like we have a question from the chat.
Sure.
It's my mother. And she's asking, what year did Coke start? Katie, what's the answer to that one?
Good question, Doreen. I don't remember the exact year, but I know it was in the 1800s. They started Coca-Cola. It was founded by, I believe, John S. Pemberton. He was a pharmacist, and he started creating this formula in Georgia and had a soda fountain. And he made this formula that, of course, would relieve headaches and do all these kinds of things. And he got into business, I want to say, with his friend. There's a whole story there, and it's been a while since I've read it, but they combined forces and really created this amazing Coca-Cola drink. And what's interesting about the bottling of Coca-Cola is the first bottling plant is in Tennessee, in Chattanooga. And what's so cool about that is there's a whole story with this bottling plant, because they were supposed to pay $1 to actually pay the dollar to the facility for them to start bottling Cokes. Now that's amazing. $1 for all these Cokes to start being bottled. And they never paid the dollar, and nobody ever said anything about it, which I think is fascinating. So the whole bottling of that is very interesting as well, how it got kind of mass marketed. But Coke has such an amazing history. And yes, original Coke did have cocaine in it. It doesn't now, of course. They took that out, but it does come from coca leaves. And of course, there's always debate on that, but I truly believe that's true, because you can read some of the old pharmacy prescriptions and stuff that they created for Coca-Cola. And I do have a real original authentic Coca-Cola prescription bottle, and it was actually a prescription that you would get like for relieving headaches and all that at the pharmacy.
Oh, that's fun.
Which is pretty cool. Yeah, that's a real treasure in my collection.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah.
So I am going to, let's see, I'm going to move this over, and we're going to put me over here. And we're just gonna do a haul today. So today isn't a sale. I've already been asked that question. If there is something you're just dying to have, you can send me a request via my website. The info for that should be below. It's on almost every video. It's on my About page. You can contact me through my website. And the best way for me to know what you're talking about is to put the timestamp of the video if there really is something you have to have. Because if you say, I need that Coke ad, it's not going to help. Or if you say, I need that Coke ad with the lady in it, like it's when you see what we have, it's not going to help as well. So, but yeah, we're just going to do a haul today. I know a little bit about ephemera. Just being a graphic artist, it's always something that I love. People do not consider the artwork I do to be high art. They actually consider graphic arts to be pretty like menial on like the scale of art and creation. But what I love about graphic art is that people are using it every single day. And like that is super duper important. When you think about like high-end art or, the art bourgeoisie, some of these paintings get bought and get walked away and people aren't even enjoying them. I'll make a brochure. A great example is I make a community ed brochure for St. Paul, Minnesota, and one copy of that brochure goes to every single household in the city. So when you think about that, like think about how many people saw that compared to, sometimes what is considered like high art. And so that's why I've always been just really drawn to pop art, especially like animation too. A lot of stuff that people don't think is high art, I find fascinating because it actually kind of shapes our lives. And I saw somebody in the chat said, like, it's amazing it still survived. And like, that is so true, right? Like, I don't keep anything that I get. I threw out almost everything. Like, I don't keep my cereal boxes.
We're such a disposable society nowadays.
Right? Like,
it goes away.
Yeah, I don't keep any of this stuff that I'm sure in 30 years I wish I would have. Like, I don't keep any of that. So, and so the story behind what I picked up is I picked up 3 auction lots, and they're just varying pieces of ephemera. And when I kind of did the math on everything, I knew I was coming out at about 50 cents per item about. It turns out I bought a lot more than I thought, and you'll see that as we get going. And I knew at 50 cents a piece, there was money to be made. Like, even if I sold things for $1, there was still money to be made. And I just thought that was a good price point. So I went for it. But yeah, we're just going to go through it. I'm going to double check if there are any other things.
I did want to just go back to your mom's question, because this is a wonderful book, by the way, folks. I'll be talking about this more throughout the chat today. But if you're a Coke collector, you're interested in Coke, Petretti's Guide. Alan Petretti, the guy that wrote this, he's a high-end Coca-Cola collector. He started all of the Coca-Cola collecting clubs. I mean, he's, top of the line. He wrote this book, and it is, as you can see, thick, thick, thick. But this is like the Coke Bible. Anything you want to know about collecting, reproductions, it's all in here. And if you just want to see like the sheer volume of stuff that Coke produced during its olden times of producing really amazing stuff, and they still are, but this is the place to research and find stuff. And I just looked in their opening cover, because they've got a whole 5 pages on the history of Coke. It said that by 1895, the product Coca-Cola was being sold in every state and territory in the United States. And by the 1890s, they kind of moved away from the medicinal claims and then sold it more like as a soda that we all know today. But that just kind of answers your question there. I did verify that I was telling that accurately.
Wow. Gosh, I don't know. It just seems wild that you're holding something that somebody held in the 1890s and it's still the same thing. Like right now I have a Diet Coke. Like
Oh, you themed that perfectly, Catherine. I didn't even think to go get a Coke today. Oh my gosh, I should have. But I did wear red in honor of Coke. And yes, Tiger, we have matching hats, and
that's good.
This
That's
is that
good.
hat.
Okay, so the first thing, I won 3 lots, and this is the smallest lot I won, and we're just going to go through it pretty quick. But this is basically what it looked like when I saw it in the auction. It was just this, and I could tell there were pieces in here. And let's take a little bit of a closer look at some of the pieces. I'm pretty excited about this one. This had this amazing piece that me and Katie geeked out on. It was in the thumbnail of this video. But it does turn out that it was a reproduction. But it's still cool. It's still cool to see. Katie definitely laid claim on that. And if she still wants it, it is absolutely hers. But if not, I'm probably going to hold on to that one because it's pretty dang cool.
I think you should, Catherine. That's
yeah, Katie's like a true collector. Now, Katie had mentioned the bottle pieces. And in this lot, I got 2 of them. I got 2 of the bottle wrappers. And one says, "Thirst, ask nothing more, and make a light lunch refreshing." So that's the catchphrases on these ones.
I love that. I think I have the "makes a light lunch refreshing." I want to say that one's from the 40s. This book that I just mentioned, again, not sponsored by the guy, but he's got a whole section on here on drip bottle protectors, and you can go through. He's got like ephemera, a whole section of ephemera here, and you can go through and date those, of course, by the slogan. But Coke had so many slogans in the span that they were around, it's impossible to remember the year of every single slogan outside of the ones that we all know from like the 60s and 70s.
All right, and then there was lots of different things in here, so it looks like I don't really know what these ephemera pieces are. Have a free Coke. A point saver. This must have been some kind of grocery store thing. Another free Coke. But
now, that's like 70s probably, I think, based on the graphics on that.
Hey, Angela. Let's see what she's saying. Oh goodness, she's doing all kinds of things today. Angela, I'm sorry, but I am like being completely lazy this weekend because I need a break. So I am not attempting everything you are. I am not attempting everything you are. We got some other pieces here of like free Coca-Cola. I'm kind of saving my favorites till the end of this box because they're fun. This looks like a tag off a pair of jeans, which is super interesting.
That's interesting.
See how this would go over the flap? And it's to advertise white jeans.
That might have been, of course, for the delivery truck drivers, because that's what they wore. And they had, I have a little Coca-Cola patch, but you can buy like old Coke uniforms and the hats and all that. And that might have been attached to that at some point.
Okay. Because yeah, that one is 1985. So that's kind of interesting. I have a coaster.
Oh, no, he's the Sprite boy. Now, the thing is, you got to be careful with the Sprite boy. Of course, you know, if you're into collecting like you want all mint and original and all that, the Sprite boy has been reproduced so much, but he was around during the war and a little bit after the war to brighten people's spirits. I've never seen him on the coaster, but Coke has reproduced him so much because people find him so endearing. I find him just a tad creepy personally, but I
think he's creepy.
He's kind of, you know, he's just iconic for Coke. So you know, when you find these Sprite Boy pieces, if you're really trying to collect something original, it's always worth just taking a moment and looking at and studying it over to see that you're getting an original. But I just think for the look, you cannot go wrong with reproductions, because in the world of Coke now, the advertising has gotten so astronomically expensive because some of it's becoming so rare that, you know, the average person may not be able to own a $4,000 to $8,000 piece, but you get a reproduction and you've got the look and the great graphics. So reproductions can be really great too. But if you're looking for an original, just keep out for that Sprite boy. He's kind of everywhere.
Yeah, what kind of makes me think this is a reproduction is, one, it's super, super thin. I've never seen a coaster this thin before. Like, I would assume a coaster would be a typical coaster thickness. This is thin. And I can also see the dots of printing. And I feel like if it was older, I wouldn't see the dots so clearly.
Yeah.
But I mean, look how thin that is. It's almost like paper. Like, it's like cardstock. It's not like a coaster.
Just looking to see if he'd appear in this book, but I don't see him as a coaster.
And let's see. I think this is the last ticket, and this is from the World of Coke.
Oh, that's cool. Like the early. Like
so this is 93. This is
93.
Oh. And then we have some door hangers. And these are pretty cute, I think. One's a lady, one's a little boy, and one's Santa. Ooh, I'm having bad glare. Sorry, guys.
So the little boy, he was actually designed by Norman Rockwell.
Oh,
and
cool.
There he is right here. I've got, they just call him the boy in the dog tray. He was originally done in 1931. It's a very hard tray to come by. And the girl, let me see if I've got her where you can see her. She is, yes, she's fabulous. She was featured. She's the menu girl. Let me see if I can turn my camera. She's featured on that tray there. But there's the boy and the dog. She was more 50s, 53 to I think 60 something.
Now these two pieces, this boy and the girl, these are in Spanish. So I'm assuming these are from another country. So,
and she, that girl there, she might actually be, there's another girl that's similar to her. Now that I see her face up close, she may be the part of one of the Spanish trays. They made, if you don't know, Coke made all these amazing American trays, but they have a whole collection of Hispanic trays that were sent to different countries all over the world, and it's fabulous.
Now, this door knocker, what I find interesting about this is it's copyright the Walt Disney Company. So I thought that was kind of fascinating because, like, nothing on this indicates to me that it's Disney.
Disney, I know, and you just see him.
Yeah, you just see Coca-Cola, but it is copyright 1980 Walt Disney Productions. So I thought that was kind of fascinating that this door knocker was a Disney product. Because, you know, who knows? It could have maybe been something that was put on the door in one of the resorts, right? Or something like that. Who knows? Or on like a bottle in something they had. I don't know. I just thought that was kind of fascinating that this was a Disney company. And then we have some of those checks that Katie had talked about.
Oh, I love those.
So I have two of them. So we got two.
That's similar. Let's see. Is that one like mine? Yeah.
So this one is Opelika Coca-Cola Bottling Company, Opelika, Alabama, and it's 1958.
And you think about the sheer volume of bottling plants all over the country. There's
Mm-hmm.
probably a lot of these floating around, but there's a highly collectible market for these checks because people that don't want to collect the trays or the bottles, just like with any type of collection, there's sub collections, and this is one of those fabulous sub collections. Some people have books and books of these Coca-Cola checks, and they're fun to collect because usually they're not super expensive, and you can get so many different states and designs and graphics.
Honestly, as far as checks go, I'm amazed the checks survived because I feel like this is something that would be shredded,
Yes,
right?
you would think that.
Like, I feel like this would be something that would be instantly shredded. Why would I think to keep this? So I think that, to me, the checks are fascinating. Now, this one is 1931.
Yeah, I think that's so cool.
And this is from, it just says ADA, Coca-Cola Bottling Company. Oh, 80, Ada, Oklahoma. ADA is actually the name, Ada.
Now, as far as I know, these checks were never reproduced. A lot of the ephemera, some of it has been reproduced. If you ever see a gum, Coca-Cola gum, like advertising booklet showing what kind of gum they sold, in the 80s, there was a gentleman that reproduced a ton of those, and they're flooding the market. And of course,
Okay.
there's ways to tell different reproductions, but the checks, I think, are all original. I don't think anybody's reproduced those.
I wonder if like it's a bigger legal problem if you were to.
Probably. Yeah.
That's probably a federal crime, actually.
Yeah. Reproducing checks. Yep.
There is this case. It
Oh, I
has
love
seen
that.
better days. It is a 25 cents case, and it says Morris Paper Mills, Chicago 3, Illinois.
Wow.
Quite honestly, this is the piece I'm least excited about because it's going to be hard to store because it's not flat, if that makes sense. I'm kind of like, where do I store this for resale? You know what I mean? And like, also it's kind of in bad shape to me. So I think this is one of the pieces that I'm like, ah.
You could frame that if you so desired, or if it's able to still be propped up, you could put bottles in it.
That's true. It could, and you could prop this up and put bottles in it. You could absolutely do that. Mm-hmm. Yep. But yeah, as far as like things I'm excited about, that one I'm a little not, just because it's like in bad shape. Also, like it's going to be harder to store compared to this other ephemera. This other ephemera is all flat and all can be put in a binder, you know? And then what I really, really loved in this box was there was ink blotters.
Oh, I love those.
And so we have 3 different designs. There is multiples of one, but I'm just going to show the 3 designs. And there is this, and it appears to be unused.
Yep, I think he's probably from 1947 or so with the Sprite Boy.
And then we got another one of him, but he's bigger.
Now, they did reproduce this one, this Coca-Cola Good bottle blotter.
Okay.
He's
Okay,
cool.
this does say copyright 1953 on it.
Yep, so he's not reproduced.
And this one says copyright 1951.
Oh, for that one's 51. Okay, cool.
And then this one says made in USA 1940. This one is in worse shape.
Oh, now see, that's interesting with the clown.
Mm-hmm.
The greatest paws on earth. See, I just love those.
And then this one has been used a bit. So that one's really unique. And then my favorite piece from this lot, both me and Katie loved, but it is a reproduction. It's from 1978. I figured that out.
So fabulous.
But it's this piece right here. It is this girl in the bathtub, and you can see her knees are sticking up, right? And it says, appearances are sometimes deceiving, but Coca-Cola can always be relied on as nourishing, refreshing, and exhilarating. Okay? So it says appearances can sometimes be deceiving. I'm sorry about the glare, guys. I think I put my lights a little too far back for this. But look at this.
Oh, isn't that incredible?
Isn't that hilarious?
I love it.
It is so good. So good. So this does have an embossed stamp on it. And the embossed stamp does say 1978. I don't think there's going to be any way to show you that on camera. It's just too hard to show the embossing on it. But let me read the inside of this. It says, when thirsty, tired, or head achy, or after a night out, try Coca-Cola Highball. It hits the spot. And the Coca-Colas she's serving have that diamond label that Katie was talking about.
There's that diamond label. Look how cool.
Yeah. Now, the back of this is kind of a little brochure, and I'll read that for you. When tired, Coca-Cola will refresh you. Headachy, help you. Nervous, relieve you. Thirsty, fill you. Water, when boiled and filtered, will do to bathe in or even drink if it is free. But if you have to buy, get it a drink which has something to it more than mere dampness. Get Coca-Cola.
Get Coca-Cola.
Because water is just mere dampness.
Yeah. It's not good. Coke. Now that is the
Coca-Cola is always nourishing, refreshing, and invigorating. More than 250 million bottles used last year. For sale everywhere. To dealers, 70 cents a case. To families, $1 a case. Contents would be 2 dozen bottles per case. Phone or write your nearest Coca-Cola bottling company.
I love that. Phone or write. I mean, amazing. That, and you can see, so that logo, you know, obviously this is a reproduction, but see that Coca-Cola logo is one of the earlier logos. The logo has changed throughout the years slightly. And I think that's so neat. So initially I thought, oh man, we've got a really old piece on our hands, but it's still fabulous. And in the 70s, folks, they did a lot of, they brought back a lot of the really early Coke stuff and did a bunch of memorabilia trays and all kinds of stuff. So maybe that's where it came from, but I think that's so cool.
Yeah, I feel like the 70s with like Centennial and stuff, the 70s saw a lot of revival of all sorts of different things, like all sorts of brands, all sorts of Americana, all kinds of things that kind of related to like American life did a lot of like revivals because of the bicentennial, right? Like, I feel like it was just kind of the thing that happened. So the next lot I got was
and
just
Catherine, before you jump into that other ink blotter you had with the Sprite boy that says good.
yes.
Is the back, is that back gray, or is it an actual like blotter paper?
Blotter paper. Blotter paper. So here's the back of it, and it has the imprint of a like the exact same one it was stacked on.
So that is an original. You can see here just a little cool
Hold
thing
on.
about this book.
Let me bring you over. 1 second. Let me bring you over.
I found it. You can see these two, the reproduction and the original, and it will tell you this the reproduction from the 80s is printed with 1953, but the back is gray. So yep, Catherine, you got an original there.
Fun. I love it.
So it's fun to look these things up.
So that's this one. And then the back is just plain blotter paper.
Yep. Perfect.
And can you see the ghosting, Katie?
Yeah, I love that.
So you can tell it was stacked on a stack of them, you know? Yep.
So it's a true Stone Cold original.
So that's an oldie. So that's an old one. So the next lot I got just looked like this. It was just a stack of stuff. They definitely did show a little bit in it. But I really was kind of like, I see a few cool things. I don't know. I'm going to breeze by stuff that I don't find as interesting. No offense. But like there's the, you know, like the bag of the Christmas bear. Like the Christmas bears were so like oversaturated. I feel like everybody's seen some of this. There is this bag, and I think every single person in the world has gotten a gift in this bag at one point.
I have gotten many gifts in that bag.
Yep. So I mean this you can still get this now. I swear you can. It says 1993, but I swear I've given a gift in it in the last 10 years. So that's a pretty common one. All right. And now let's get into the ads. So this one, oh, it's so beautiful. And it almost has that same case that I was complaining about, that I was like, I don't know how to store this. It's very, very similar in his hands. See how he has a case?
Yep, and it's got the same handle almost, I think.
Yep, almost. So let me give you up close.
So those would have been on a big display rack in a store, you know. They had all different variations of display racks, but you could pick one
Now
and take it home.
I think this one, Katie, is the back of a magazine.
Yes.
I think this one is the back of a magazine because it says Mrs. August Ellis, New Ulm, Minnesota. Like, it's stamped on there, her address is. So I think this was the back page of a magazine.
I think so. And those bigger Coke ads, I believe, came from Life magazine. And I think it was at Ladies Home Journal that did a couple of Coke ads. Some of the bigger magazines, you'll find those on the back. So you know, be on the lookout, because those old magazines might have fabulous Coke ads in them.
And so this is copyright 1948. I can see that on there. And what I loved about this whole collection, these items that I bid on, was the person has them all stored safely. So you'll see that they're all like in protective, you know, that's already done for me. And since I need to store these for like resale later, do you know what I mean? Like, it was like, oh, you already did my job for me. Do you know what I mean? So here is another one.
I love the ladies in the bicycle. I think that is fantastic. Look at that. Look at the old soda fountain on the bottom. That's amazing.
And now this one, somebody wrote in pencil 1934 on it. I'm inclined to agree. It feels like the 30s, but I can't be sure. But somebody did write in pencil on it 1934.
What's the tagline on it?
The pause that keeps you going, keeping a slim figure.
Yeah, I think that is 30s. And I don't, to my knowledge, I don't think they've reproduced any of these Coca-Cola ads from old magazines. I think when you find them, they typically are legit, and they're usually dated on the bottom for the most part.
Now, one thing I want to let everybody know is, to be honest, a lot of these ads have more than one in them. They're layered in here, which is awesome for me as a reseller. I got more than I thought. But today we're not going to go through the layers because it'll make this live longer than an hour. And I don't want to take that much time. I appreciate everyone being here, but I also appreciate your time. So, but just know, in some of these, like this one, I can see there's one behind it. I can tell, but I'm not going to pull them out and show you. I'm just going to show you what you can see. So this is May 1921, and this is from the Delineator. And it's kind of an interesting ad. So this one almost feels like more of a medical thing, even though it's still calling it a beverage.
Yeah.
Because it, like, the guy, doesn't he look very, I don't know. He just looks very doctor-y. I don't know if that's a word, but he does. He looks great. But we know this is 1921. It says so right on it. And then this one, there's another ad behind it. I can see it. This one, I'm not seeing a date on it, but I'm assuming this is near the war because of what it is.
Yeah. I think he's wartime. You take off refreshed. You see a lot of those wartime ads, and they're wonderful. And the delicious and refreshing slogan, I think, is probably one of the longest running slogans for Coke. It was first published, though, did you guys know this, in the Atlanta Journal newspaper in 1886. That was the first time that slogan was used.
Oh,
but it's been used a long time. So that's pretty cool. I love the delicious and refreshing slogan.
So this one's kind of cool because it's a combination of two brands. This one is 1952. It says so on it. And the kid has a Western Union hat on.
Oh, that's cool.
And so he says, "Mister, it's a pleasure."
Oh, I love that.
So that's kind of interesting.
That's
That's just,
that's a more unique ad to me because I've never
yeah.
seen the two advertisements, in one ad.
So this might be, well, there are two in here that are, I'm going to show them in a row, are my favorites from this lot. Um, so this one is from February 1925, the Ladies' Home Journal, and it is just adorable. It says, "How delightful to have Coca-Cola ready at home. Refreshment time." Now, just know there is some cultural issues with this one, but it's beautiful. I think the rendition is lovely, but this is a gorgeous ad.
Yes, it is a gorgeous ad, and it needs to be preserved.
It is beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now, I wouldn't feel comfortable selling this just because of the reference of a mammy in the imagery, but I think it's beautiful. I
I do
love it.
too. And maybe, Catherine, that can stay in your care.
Yeah, and maybe it can stay in my collection. And also, it's a representation of a plus size woman, and I collect imagery of plus size women. So,
I think it's wonderful, and you can find that in ads.
yes, I
The
love
plus
that. But
size.
but I mean, 1925, y'all.
It's
Love that.
amazing to me. And I think a lot of these ads did survive in these magazines because people kept the magazines to read.
Mm-hmm.
I know growing up, going to my grandparents' house, there were stacks in the basement of National Geographic magazines, and my grandparents would mark things in them, and they keep them for reference. And we when they moved, I didn't know. I hadn't been really collecting Coke for that long at that time. We threw a lot of them out, and I wish that I still had them because they probably are filled with Coke ads, because there's a lot of National Geographic magazines that had Coke ads. But I think that's the reason a lot of these things stayed preserved, is because they were inside a magazine where they were kept fairly safe, and then someone's done a beautiful job here cutting them out and saving them. And I just think that's so wonderful. Same with all the old signs and things. A lot of them got saved because people would reuse the signs as barn insulation. One of the signs I have came out of an old barn. It got washed away in a flood, and this guy found like hundreds of signs
Oh,
stuck in the
wow.
wall because they had, it was good insulation, and they didn't throw things away then. So it's kind of lucky that we still have all this wonderful stuff.
That's awesome. So this next bunches of ads that I'm going to show you, I saw these pouches in the lot. Like, I saw it the way it was. And I bought this thinking I got these ads. Great. Every one of these has stacks of ads in them.
Wow.
So there is a bunch in each of them, probably 5 or 6 behind each one. I'm not going to go through them all, but just know, like, what you're seeing is the top of a stack. This is also one of my favorite ads that is in here. And it's this cute guy talking to these sweet little retired ladies. And it says, "Happy pause for the youth of all ages. Time for a crisp taste of Coke. A sign of good taste." And it's super cute. If you notice, everyone in the scene, all but the girl who's working over here, she's doing her job. Everybody else is just smiling at these sweet old ladies who have their convertible, and they're flirting with the Coke guy.
I love that. And
It
that
is such a cute ad. It was so cute.
the sign of good taste, I think, was done in 1957. I think that's when that slogan was used.
1958, Katie, copyright. Good job. Right on.
Yep. That's amazing. That's what Catherine showed me some of these in advance, and we were just going through them, and I was like, okay, that ad is probably my favorite. I love it.
Isn't it cute? It's super
So
adorable.
cute. And those were from, I think, National Geographic. So you can see the yellow spine.
Yep, the yellow spine is still there. Yep. Whoever cut these out was super diligent and did a really good job cutting them out. They all have the spine still, so that you know which issue it came from. This one is a little bit more modern.
Look at her, though. That's
Isn't that
so
cute?
fun.
Isn't that cute? This one says, "Refreshing new feeling. Salute fun in the sun with an ice cold Coca-Cola. Lively lift, spirited taste. Always just right, never too sweet. Coke to the rescue again," which is a pun on the fact that she is a lifeguard. And
Which
this
I
is
love.
And this is 1963.
I was going to say very 60s. The marketing people that work for Coke and came up with these slogans, I mean, they are just so long lasting.
And I'm going to kind of buzz through these next ones. Just so you know, I'm just going to kind of go fast because our time is counting down. So there's this.
60s, I think. Things go better with Coke.
I love this with his dog. He's like, shh, telling him, don't spill my secret, puppy.
Coke really formed Santa Claus. You know, they made him what we know today.
This one is 1954. Taste, there's this about Coke. It couldn't be better. I don't quite get that slogan. But that's kind of cool. Got that one again. And all of these have ads stacked behind them, which is nice. So I definitely got more. I probably got 5 times what I just showed you.
This one's interesting.
No after lunch drowsiness.
So I have her on another ad that says something about when you wake up in the morning or for that afternoon, you know, basically don't get sleepy.
Mm-hmm.
Drink a Coke. I showed it to Catherine. It's in my bedroom. I can't remember the exact phrase, but I'm pretty sure it's that same lady with the red hair, and it has that same font and everything. So they must have done a whole series of these, probably in like a Life magazine or a good, what is that? A Saturday Evening Post, maybe.
So this is a Ladies' Home Journal, 1933.
Yeah, amazing.
I ended up with another bear bag, the Coca-Cola bears, and then I still have this all to go through, and this is a full flat of things. So I was super excited about this. I think for this flat, I think I paid, I don't remember if this was the one that was $17 or $11, but like I did really well for how many ads there were. So we got this one. There's a lot of Santas in here, which I really appreciate because I think those will sell well for Christmas. I think people would like those. I could also see maybe selling all the Santa ads, like maybe framed even.
Oh, they do framed.
You know, like, but maybe actually selling them framed. You know what I'm saying? So that people can be like, oh, I could hang that up. I thought this one was kind of fun with the ice cream.
I love them. I think they're so cute. That's 60s, I think.
Yes. So this is 1962. Yeah. Very cute. Now, all these again have stacks of ads behind them. I don't actually know if they're duplicate ads. They might be. I don't know. But if they're duplicates, that would be awesome. It would save me listing time.
The Santas are fabulous.
Oh, right. The Santas.
But I would sell some of these framed because I have Coke ads framed all over my house, and they make the most inexpensive and wonderful art. She's 40s, I think. She's wartime. Could be wrong, but I think so.
1953.
Oh, 53. Okay, so she's a little later. Cute. Oh, I love this one. I have this framed in my kitchen. Hospitality can be so easy. I mean, what a great phrase.
Mm-hmm. Now, I also got some like 45s in the slot randomly. I didn't realize I was getting them. We're not going to go through them today. We're just focusing on the Coca-Cola stuff, but I did get some 45s and some 45 sleeves. So I thought that was pretty cool. A little kind of bonus for what I thought I was getting. And that often happens in auction lots, right? It fits in the box, it goes in the lots, right? Like they don't necessarily distinguish what goes together sometimes. Sometimes I feel like they just put things that fit in a flat together. Now, the last thing I got, I think is the kind of the best thing I got. I don't know. Maybe y'all might disagree with me, but I'm a sucker for scrapbooks and albums. They're like my favorite thing. So there was this album, and it was a lot, and I'm almost positive I paid $9 for this. I think I paid $9 for this, but it's a full album, and it is full. So, so that's pretty exciting. I do have to laugh though. Like the first 2 ads are not for Coca-Cola; they're for Plymouth. I'm still gonna show them because they're cute, but they're not Coca-Cola ads. Man, the glare. I just wasn't prepared. Okay, wait. I gotta move this light. I need for you guys to be able to see this better. There we go. There we go. Cute little Plymouth ad. Look at that family.
Oh, I love that. So
Isn't that adorable? But what I loved about this book is this book was completely full, and it was Santa after Santa after Santa. So this book is just a ton of Santa ads. I'm trying to, let's see. Let's make sure you get a good view. And there are layers in this one too. So there are some behind. Oops, this one's sliding.
If you want to get into collecting Coke stuff, guys, ephemera, these old advertisements are a great start because they make wonderful art and they're not super expensive to collect, which I love.
And I can tell you that this collection, this auction I was dealing with had like well over 800 lots. Some really big high-end pieces, some really cool like fantasy Coca-Cola pieces. Katie's taught me about those. But the ephemera was not, whoops, it's okay. I'll put it back in. The ephemera was not going super high because people were more interested in like the display piece, you know? But for me, I don't want a soda fountain. I can't do anything with that.
Yeah, those take up a lot of room.
So, but as you can see, it's just page after page after page of Santas. And this is not the greatest album to show this way because they're all sliding off. But I was really, really excited about this. Let me see if I can find some that I just really, really love. And the pages coming up. Having them fall out like that, I would rather not damage them. So let me see if I can show you some that I thought are really good. This page.
Yes, Coke did used to contain cocaine, from what I've heard. I don't know when it was removed from the soda exactly.
These ones I love. Love these Santas. I thought these were adorable. So those ones are from 59 and 1960. Let's see, what other one do I love? Oh my God. Oh, these ones.
Oh, I love that. Look at the kids and the dog.
Yep. And there's the one right here that you always see on the bag.
Yes. Oh, that's so cute.
So on the low end, this probably has 45 ads in it. On the high end, more, because I believe there's layers in here. Here is that. Oh, this page is kind of coming loose again too. On this page, Katie, there is that tired face ad again.
That is so interesting to me. Oh, I have the guy, the pause for people on the go with the ticket in his hat. I love him. He's in my bathroom.
And let me see what other ones in here I think are really great. I love the ladies. I'm always drawn to the pinups. Here, let's do the pinups because I like them.
The Coke ladies are so beautiful, you guys.
And yeah, they're really good examples of pinups of the 50s. I love them. They're all trying to immigrate that Gil Elfgren style. And let's just show a few more and then we'll wrap up. This is basically the end. This was the last thing I had to show was this album. So we are here at the end. Ooh, I love this one. Okay, so let's show these.
Oh, look at her. Pause and go refresh. Is she in a stewardess outfit?
Yes, she's a stewardess.
Oh, man, that is so cool.
I think that's so cool. And let's see, there's like 8 more pages.
Boy with hello.
Yeah, there's about 8 more pages here. Let's see. Oh, that's interesting. This is just interesting. So this is like Alaska specific. So that's
I've never seen that.
So that's kind of interesting. I wonder if like the book that it was published in had like a thing about Alaska. Do you know what I mean?
It might have been, or next to a travel advertisement for Alaska.
Or something, yep. Kind of like a partnership. And then, let's see. Oh, wow. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so this We have war bonds, and we have an ad talking about Stonewall Jackson.
Whoa.
So that's fascinating.
Now that's probably a true original Sprite Boy right there.
Yeah, so that's
Cool.
fascinating.
Wow, Stonewall Jackson, so interesting.
Yeah. And there's like dead people in this one. That's a weird
That's
ad.
a weird
Wow.
ad.
Yeah.
I
Let's
vote the
see.
Sprite Boy did it. He's evil.
He is evil. Oh, whoa, these are cool. Okay. It's so much for me not showing you every page, right? I basically showed you almost every page at this point. These are interesting.
Oh wow, look at them. That is so amazing. Wartime ads and it's interesting too. Speaking of the war, I have a Coca-Cola record. I did a video on it a long time ago, but you can find it on my channel of an old record that was explaining how the Coca-Cola bottling plants during the war were going to change and help the war efforts. So the bottling plants did during the war all shift from bottling just Coke for your average everyday person to really helping the war effort. And this record has the whole president of Coca-Cola talking about what they're going to do. And it went out to all the bottling plants.
Aww.
And it's just a cool piece of history.
Okay, so these end ads I do want to show because they're just different. So this one is from Newfoundland.
Oh, wow. I've never seen these ads that advertise different places. That's neat.
And then again, wartime.
Yeah, the wartime stuff is so interesting.
I love this one where they're all on the ship. And then we have some that aren't in English. Ooh, see, this is what I'm worried about. I don't like how they're sliding.
Up the bottom.
Oh, okay. I really want to show that one. That just flew out though.
Have a Coke.
Ahoy, mates.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And then here is one in Spanish, I presume. Not speaking Spanish, I should probably not guess, but.
Yep, I think that is in Spanish.
But yeah, so I just. Oh, and look at, they have a list of what they have in here.
Oh, that's so fun.
And he says what he has missing, so that's cool.
What a great collection of ads that is, Catherine. That is killer.
Yeah, and what I like I said earlier, is what I loved about it is I loved the fact that this person like really took care of them, and so I could buy the ads all kind of packaged up nicely and taken care of, and that's really going to help me for, deciding what I want to do with it. Like, do I want to sell the album as a whole album as a lot? Do I want to parse it out? I can make those decisions knowing that these items are nicely protected. So that's why I really thought it was a good investment. It wasn't just stuff just piled all up, which a lot of my ephemera is. I'm guilty of that. I'm not a great organizer.
I put all my ephemera in plastic bins that slide under my bed, but I really, after getting some of these pieces out to share with you all today, I thought I've got to get these in like protective sleeves and just do a little bit better than I am doing, because I can't have everything framed and up on my wall.
I know.
But it's wonderful to just have this old ephemera, and those ads make fabulous art at just such a reasonable price, and you can fill your home with something that no one else is going to have.
Agreed. And I actually sold 3 ads in the drop sale just this past week. They weren't from this haul. They were 3 ads I had picked up previously. They might have been from the same collection though, because I bought it from the same auction house. So yeah, I love the idea of selling the ads for art, because I think that's just a great way to keep the art alive. Because yeah, I love, I guess you would call it consumer art maybe. I love consumer art. I love art that the everyday person sees. It just makes me so happy. I don't know what it is about it. Like there's something about knowing that these artists, they had a 9 to 5, They went to work. They worked for a newspaper, a publishing company. Like I work for a school district. Like we're still artists and we were still doing work that was really needed by society. And I think that's often overlooked. I think people often think that artists like are highfalutin, making things that don't matter. But it's like every single one of this was like an artist working for something, And I just think it's like amazing to see art in everyday life.
Yeah, and it mattered because this stuff needed to be advertised to the public, and those wartime ads obviously needed to get out there, and to just see the sheer volume of creativity and art that went into these things are just amazing. And that's kind of what I love about just industrial stuff in general, but also old advertising, is that these things really were meant to be more practical. Yes, they are art and we see them as art now, but I think then, and I'm speaking for a whole generation that maybe isn't here to confirm or deny this, but I just think about this often, that, maybe these things were seen as necessary and useful and practical, but they weren't seen as the kind of art now. But the fact that someone thought, I'm going to save these, whether that be in a magazine or they stuck an old sign in the barn, and maybe their reason for saving them was more practical than just beauty. But I love that now we are all appreciating these things for the true works of art that they really are. And it's just amazing.
Yeah. I loved the way this collector put everything together. I absolutely loved it. It was just like, oh, everything's in storage and wonderful for when I pass these on to someone else, I don't have to worry that, I might accidentally rip something or tear something. And I also kind of wonder about the collector, right? Like what made this important to them? Like you have your story of going every summer to, the flea fair thing that your mom would have to do, and you would go get the Coke bottles. Like you have your story, right? And it's like, well, what story did this collector have that made Coke so relevant to him? What if he was working at a Coke fountain? Like what if he grew up and did that as his summer job? Or you know what I mean? Like we don't know, but something about this meant something to them.
And I love that. And now it's in our care and we get to preserve it for hopefully another couple hundred years.
Yeah.
And I think that's amazing. That's why I always like to say it's in your care, because I feel like that makes it special. Like I'm the keeper of all these fabulous things, and I'm kind of preserving them for the future.
Yeah.
And loving them while I get to be here to enjoy them.
Yeah, as much as I do love my own collections, there's some kind of good feeling about knowing that I have the resources and time to find things that maybe other people don't have. I traveled into a rural area of southern Minnesota to go get these, you know what I mean? And like they weren't available really around the world. I mean, yes, somebody could have found this auction and did it, but probably wouldn't have, right? And so if I sell these on eBay or on Whatnot or on YouTube, I'm giving other people a chance at this collection that a guy had in rural Minnesota. Do you know what I mean? There's like something beautiful about knowing that I can take something and I can move it on to where it will be appreciated. And it kind of validates like my time in doing that.
Yes, most certainly. I did see a question if there was anything we've been looking for our own collections in advertising. What about you, Catherine?
Oh my God, everything. I want all of it. I want all the things. Some of the things that I'm interested in finding in advertising now is representation of all forms. Especially the farther back you go, the less representation you get, especially the less respectful representation you get. So I'm always interested in ads that go farther back, that have people in diversity, in color, in gender, in sexual orientation, in ability, in income. And I'm always exceptionally interested in ads where the person is not made a mockery of for being different. Although I will keep ads that kind of mock people that are different, because honestly, sometimes that's the only representation you had back then. especially plus size women. A lot of my plus size ads, some of them are kind of inappropriate and kind of mean, but it's like I collect all representations. So I think for me, for advertising, really my goal is to find representation. I think those are the ones that really get to me. Oh, and like I really geek out over stuff that's like 1850s and earlier. I get really excited about it because that paper just doesn't make it to now, you know?
Yeah. So when you find a piece, it's special.
Yes, when you find a piece, it's special. Jody Renshaw, she sells mainly ephemera on Whatnot. And I was lucky enough to be out in Maine with her, in Bangor, Maine. And I was at her honey hole. She discovered it with me, by the way. I pointed and said, "What's that? Let's go." So I'm going to take full credit for that. And I found a piece in there from like 1847. Wow. And I was just like, I like geeked out. It was so fun to like hold something that old, right?
That's amazing, Catherine.
Oh, well, so where in Minnesota? This auction was actually in Wisconsin. I lied. It is right across the border in Ellis, Wisconsin, right across the border. So it's kind of down by where Red Wing is, kind of, but it's over a little bit. So it's technically in Wisconsin. Sorry.
Yeah, I wanted to show this piece. Now, this is a collector's item that I don't know if I'll ever even get a chance to see because it's just so rare. But it's from 1914, and it's early 3D glasses that were an advertisement for Coke. And there's not many examples of them because they just didn't survive. But this would definitely be my holy grail of probably Coca-Cola, collecting an ephemera, because I think it's so amazing. And it's just so different. I would also probably love to have some of those early Coke calendars, but there's so many repros of those and they're kind of hard to come by in good condition, but they're amazing. And I saw someone else was asking me about hanging these trays. I know we're talking about ephemera, but I use these adhesive plate hangers by the Flatiron Disc Company. You can get them at any craft store, but online has them, and they come in all different sizes, and they don't damage the trays, and they're great. You can hang plates up with them, although I probably wouldn't recommend them for plates because sometimes the adhesive doesn't like stick to the ceramic, but they're great for these guys.
And so also, like, I have a really broad definition of ephemera. I would consider those trays ephemeral.
True. They are ephemeral in a way because they were meant to just be used to serve Coke, and then they got traded out for whatever was next.
Yep. And so despite it not being a paper item, I would still consider that an ephemeral advertising piece that was not meant to survive.
Yep.
Yep. So I think, Katie, your trays fit perfectly into the conversation.
They do.
Exactly.
I never thought about it that way, but I will now. Thanks, Catherine.
So I think that's it, y'all. I saw some people pop in a little later. I hope you watch back. I hope you learn. Katie had so much to share while I was just going through this. I hope you learned some things from this. And I truly appreciate everybody taking some time and stopping in with us. I nerd out over ephemera. I'm going to tell you all a secret. I don't know when the video is coming out. I'm going to tell you a secret. I bought my first lot from a guy walking in off the street at the antique store yesterday.
Oh.
And I spent maybe too much, but I didn't want to insult him either because they were his parents. And I bought 2 big boxes of antique postcards. Ooh. So yeah, so I have no idea when I'm going through that. It probably won't even be till September, in all honesty. But I did. I bought my first, somebody coming in off the street being like, I have this. Do you know what I mean? I've never done that before. Nothing has ever interested me. But when I saw all the postcards, I was like, oh, okay. Katie, where can people see you next?
Well, that is a great question. So I've got several things coming up this week. So Monday, that's the first thing I'll be doing on Daniel's channel. Tacky is Me. I'm doing a Pride celebration, and several of us will be doing that. I think Misty's doing that. Jamie, I believe Belizo Intro. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not saying your name right. Vintage. I think you're a part of that as well, which is wonderful. So there's just so many creators that are coming on to celebrate Pride on Daniel's channel. That's at 1 o'clock on Monday. And then I still don't have the exact time for Thursday, but Thursday I'm part of a petite YouTube treasure sale with Pamela Blanchard and Fatbird Finds and Jamie, and we've got all miniatures. So Gabby, if you're listening, like, buckle up, you're going to be in heaven. But I will announce all that, of course, over on Instagram, and I'll have a new Vegas video coming out this Wednesday, so I'm excited about
Oh
that.
my gosh, so much Vegas content is coming out, y'all. I'm so excited. I'll be adding them all to the playlist. So just so everybody knows, when that Vegas content comes out, there is a full playlist of bunches of videos too. So that is awesome. So yes, if you haven't subscribed to Katie, you better get on it, because she is just everywhere doing all the things. For me, if I feel a little quiet, there's a reason. I'm very busy at work right now. Things are getting wildly crazy, and I have to prioritize my mental focus and my physical focus there right now. And that's okay. That's just life. Things happen. So I've taken on a lot of responsibility, and it's a big deal, the stuff I'm doing. I'm doing like our welcome back to school retreat for all of community education. Just some really big things are now my priority. So I have to focus there. But you'll see me, and I will be doing a Christmas in July sale, and that will be July 1st. It feels late this year, Katie. It feels late having a Christmas in July sale July 1st, because everybody's done Christmas sales like in June.
I've noticed it everywhere, and I'm like, wow.
And I'm just like, I'm sorry, y'all. I did not have time to do one earlier. Like I couldn't get it done. So, well, I'll be maybe having the last Christmas in July sale, the latest one on July 1st. So come and join me. It'll be really, really good. I have some really good pieces, like really good, you guys. And then this weekend, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So I don't know if there's going to be any content. I just want to enjoy myself. But Sandy from My Flippin' Van Life, she was just at Misty's. She was just visiting Misty, Thrifter Junker Vintage Hunter, and now she has made her way up to Minnesota. And so she's going to be visiting me for a week, and I can't wait to see her. So I'm going to be hanging out with Sandy for a little bit. I can't guarantee a video, though. I might just want to just have fun. But we'll share at least some pictures or something.
When Cindy was here, I just felt the same way, Catherine. I did a little like Instagram vlog. I took pictures and shared every day, but I just really wanted to be present and enjoy her being here. So I think that's fine too.
Yes. Now, somebody was asking, what is your channel, Katie? Let's see.
I should have changed. I had this for my sale last night, my email, but I should have put my channel.
I do it too, Katie. Let me put it in. Give me a second.
Thank you. Yes, I'm Vintage and Vinyl with the ampersand.
Let's see. Copy link.
And on Instagram, I'm vintage_and_vinyl, but all spelled out, not the ampersand, because Instagram did not have the ampersand available. There is another Vintage and Vinyl.
Okay, so let me get it in there.
Thank you so much, Catherine.
You're welcome. There you go. Katie's channel is now in there. And I think you're linked below in the description in this. I think I was on top of it enough to do that.
I'm sure you were.
Well, you never know. Some days are better than others. Well, thank you for listening to us chat here on the end. I appreciate everyone for stopping by. I appreciate so many people. I know I have some new followers thanks to the drop sale hop. So welcome. And I hope to see you soon. And that is it, y'all. Stay creative and bye.
Bye, friends.